Welcome to a brand new episode of The Hype. My name is Inlock Wong. I'm from Hong Kong, China, and I'm your host of this exciting conversation that we're going to have. If you are currently studying at a university or if you have studied at a university, it is highly probable that you know at least one Chinese student somewhere, somehow. And this is because, according to a recently released report by LinkedIn, the largest international student population nationality are from China. And this number is continuing to grow year by year. And according to the same report, over 400,000 Chinese students have graduated from overseas university throughout last year and gone into the job market. And over 80% of them wanting to come back to work in China. And that's double the figure from the year before. Over half of them are graduating or graduated from US universities. So today, I've invited 6 university students who have graduated or about to graduate from US university to join us in this exciting conversation. I'm going to let them to introduce themselves.
Hi.
Okay, why do you briefly introduce yourself? Lemon, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Zhishen Qi and I also go by Lemon, currently pursuing a master's degree in educational technology at Teachers College, Columbia University. I got my bachelor's degree in interpersonal communication coupled with a minor in educational psychology from the University of Texas at Austin. Glad to be here.
Hi, my name is Qi Jia, and I also go with my English name Jenny. I'm a graduate student majoring in communication at Johns Hopkins University, and I also graduated from University of Texas at Austin, majoring in communication studies for my undergraduate degree. I'm looking forward to share my insight with you guys.
Welcome.
So hi everyone, my name is Ding Ke and I go with Ki. I'm now a master's student in University of Southern California and major in applied economic and econometrics. I finished my bachelor in Mount Holyoke College with a major in economic and a minor in computer science. Glad to see everyone.
Hi, I'm Yubing. Welcome to call me Sophia. I'm currently a master's student in USC and majoring in analytics. I got my bachelor degree in Rogers, New Brunswick with a major business analytics information technology, and it's nice to be here.
Hi everyone, my name is Gaston. You guys can call me Jianbian Liu as well. I graduated from Johns Hopkins University, and actually my English name is from a movie called Beauty and Beast. The bad guy's name with a red shirt, you know that.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Hello everyone, my name is Yunjing Ding. You can also call me Anna. I'm currently a graduate student at Columbia University doing educational technology, and I completed my undergrad in University College London, and I did sociology.
Nice. That's a good way to connect. I was hearing all this US university. I also studied in the UK in undergrad as well,
Yeah,
but not in
nice.
London at Warwick University. So this is not an interview, so you don't need to be too strict. So let's have some interaction. I'm going to pass this out. Can you pass this out for me? Take a pen. So I'm going to ask you a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, since we're talking about job searching and recruitment in general, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident you are about the job seeking process? Do not peek, do not cheat. How confident you are from 0 to 10 is I'm very, very confident. 1 is that I have no idea what's happening. What number would that be? Good. No peeking, as I said. Okay, cool. Can you show the camera very, very quickly? So, and I can get they're gonna go as well. Okay, so we have almost a good range, right? 4, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9 as well. Okay, so maybe let's go with the very, very confident answer first. Gaston, why are you so confident?
First thing first, I should say already passed tons of the job interview in this recent months. And right now, I start to understand that it is a kind of process. Not only we need to focus in on our soft skill, but also a lot of technical skill. So this recent months, I already practiced a lot. So I think I'm quite confident about.
So you're confident, even though you are employed, but you're also at the same time confident of this whole entire process as
Exactly.
well. Very, very good. So let's go with the less confident one, Key. Why do you feel this way? Is it because you're graduating in half a year or a year?
I'm now still master, and I I finished my bachelor in a year before, like
Okay.
in 2023. Yeah.
So when are you going to graduate?
2025.
2025.
For my
So you have
master.
2 years, so it kind of makes sense that you're not as confident. But is that the reason why, or is there any other reason?
Another reason is I believe I don't have like much work experience. I believe like I know some of my friend and master, they kind of like after they finish their bachelor, they kind of like go work for a year or maybe a semester somehow, and then they came back to master. But I directly go from bachelor to master's.
And it's more common abroad, right? According to the same report that I just read, a lot of times, increasingly nowadays, particularly the Chinese student body, they go from undergraduate to graduate almost immediately without work experience. Is that the same with most of you?
Yeah.
As well?
Yeah.
This means the report is very accurate. For the rest of you, let me ask you a different question then. How do you approach job seeking? Like what channels will you use? How do you go about it? Anyone want to share?
There's a lot of platforms like companies' official websites and also the career service office in the university.
Which is the most useful?
Currently, no. I think most of them. The most important one is the official website, I think, and also the third one is some platform like LinkedIn and Handshake or anything.
Yeah, so use platforms such as LinkedIn, but also like career center from your university and company website, right? And any different answers, or anyone want to elaborate on that? Yes.
I think if you are familiar with the company or the industry that you are about to enter, what's the website, official website that you are gonna search for. But if you are not familiar with that, you might just go
How about
to
you? For
different
you, do you
job
have
boards.
because I know some graduates sometimes have targeted company. Is that I have to get into this company, or sometimes they don't really mind. For you, which case is it?
Well, I think industry is more important. So
Industry
I will
is
just
more
go
important.
for like one industry and search for different opportunities under that.
We'll definitely have more opportunity to dive deeper in such question. Anyone else have anything to add to this?
I should say I use LinkedIn a lot.
Yeah.
Normally, I not only use it for my job searching, but also use it to network with a lot of people who already get the job. And I got a lot of experience from them too.
Yeah. Because sometimes feedback
It's quite
from
important.
ex-employees or current employees is very, very important. Of course, because of technology, a lot of different platforms make it very, very easy for this to happen, right? And sometimes very authentic, because some of the platforms are anonymous as well, so you don't know who is, and you get a more realistic response to this. You're nodding quite a lot, Jenny. Is there any way, how are you approaching job seeking?
I use LinkedIn as well for networking because in my undergraduate and graduate school there are a lot of alumni, and I can ask them to have a coffee chat with me and maybe
Have you tried doing this?
Yes.
And how did it work? Do you get high response rates when you reach out on
Not very high.
So you get a lot of rejection, but it still helps, right?
Yeah, it still
because
helps
it
me.
expands the network, particularly with alumni.
Yeah.
People who are currently working are potentially hiring as well from your jobs. And anything to add on top of that?
Well, I've used the career sites that are provided by my university before too, but I realized that it's mainly focusing on maybe the major or the kind
Popular
of
majors.
popular majors. But then I would want to see all kinds of different jobs, and then that will usually go on the general like LinkedIn, and to see more.
So different channels
opportunities.
obviously have different strength, and it's a combination of all of them, right? So let's get deeper. Before we dive deeper into this, I went on actually LinkedIn to search for some quirky and fun interview questions. So it's been proven by many companies that these questions are not useful, but I thought it's a way to break the ice with all of our 6 guests. So I'm going to ask a question. If you want to answer, just raise the flag. If no one raises the flag, just like a lecturer in a classroom, I would name you guys. Okay. Let's assume those are interview questions, right? Answer them as if it's an interview. Don't give me a one-word answer, elaborate a little bit more as if it's an interview. We won't be using the board as of yet. We will be later on as well. So, for example, on a scale of 1 to 10, how weird are you? Okay, you smile. You're going to answer this. I'm sure you have an answer on top of that.
Well, I think weirdos are not bad. I mean, they are probably more creative and innovative. So I guess in this way, I will be an 8 or 9.
So nerd is a new cool in some way. Okay, good. So let me ask you now. Those are questions. Trust me, those are questions I got from LinkedIn, which are very, very interesting. The another question I thought is quite interesting is that if you have a time machine, what historical events would you want to see, or who would you want to meet, and why? Anyone want to give this a go?
Probably I want to meet myself.
You want to meet yourself?
Yeah, because without any experience, something you cannot.
How long ago yourself?
I guess.
It cannot be a minute ago.
I want to meet myself like when I was in middle school.
Okay.
Because that's the time that I have chance to do the choices. I can choose what way I want to go, like if I want to be an international student or I want to study in China. And at the time, in reality, I have no idea. I don't know the importance of communicate with other people. I don't know search information online is an important thing. But right now, I know it's really important. So if I can come back, I will talk to her, do it later.
What will you say to her?
I will say, when you heard some advice from your parents and your classmates, do it right now. Don't wait.
Of course, throughout our lives, there are lots of very critical points.
Yeah.
Where we could determine our life, right? Great answer, thank you so much. So if you were an animal, which one would you be and why? Anyone want to give it a go? Any animal person here?
I will go with that first. Honestly, I got 2 border collie, and one of them is gold, one of them is blue. So every time when I stay home with them, I feel like they are super lazy.
And you want to beat them?
Not at all. They do know how to enjoy their life, but sometimes they are super protective when they trying to look outside the window and trying to hunt something. So that's the thing that I want to be, and so I want to be like them. Not only to be super protective, but also know how to enjoy my life. Yeah.
Very, very good message as well to your future self and to your past self. So if you have a choice between 2 superpower, being invisible or flying, which one would you choose? Jenny, you're laughing. Go ahead.
I will choose being invisible.
Invisible.
Yeah.
Tell me more. Why? What will you do? What do you want to do?
I mean, I can do everything if I'm invisible. Like maybe to see what my friends are doing and to see what my professors are doing as well.
When no one is watching, what would they be doing? Okay, very, very interesting. So again, trust me, those are answers I find on the platform. There were an interview question that asked, if you're a new addition to a crayon box, so coloring pencil, what color will you be and why? Any special color in mind?
Well, I think I would love to be black, dark, because if you are drawing on a picture, probably you have different colors already on it. It's like many mistakes that you've made in your life, and if you have darker colors like black, you can cover them with new pictures, with new drawings.
Have you been preparing for these interview questions?
No.
I would have thought Jenny would put white because you want to be invisible, right?
Yeah.
White crayon on a white paper. Good. So we're in an interview, right? Interview question. We finish the interview and you step outside of the office and you find a lottery ticket that ends up winning $10 million. What will you do? Will you walk back and say, goodbye, I reject you? What will you do?
I will put it in my bank account because there is a huge profit I can get from the.
So you got interest from this, right? And anyone else?
Well, I don't think that's a good idea because right now, if you put all of your money into the bank, it's probably just gonna stay there.
Let's ask the economic major. What do you think? Is that a good idea or not? What would you do?
I probably will, I don't know, probably
Spend
keep
it.
that first, but I would not spend any of them.
Okay, so take some time, pause as well.
Yeah.
So it is also a very, very good time to pause from this very fun, quirky interview question. I'm sure if you like them, you can go on the platform, LinkedIn or any other platform and go search and have fun. But let's dive into today's topic. So we talk about job searching. So I want to, in the next session, try to figure out, particularly Chinese international students like you guys, a very, very big population, are returning back to China. What do you care about in a job? So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Try to answer them in one word, then you can write it on the board, and then we can show them, and then we have a discussion. Yeah?
Okay.
Cool. So, so you mentioned LinkedIn, some other job board. So I want to know, in a job posting, what draws your attention first? In a job posting, right? So for example, a job posting on LinkedIn or on a job board, which parts, which paragraph, or which heading, or what elements draw your attention? I'm going to give you 3 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Again, no cheating, no peeking. Okay, let's show the camera. What's your answer? So job description, about, company name, size, qualification. So I'm going to ask, like, why is qualification important for you guys? It might be different reason. Besides, you guys might have checked out others' answer. But why?
That's definitely like the first sector that I'm gonna check to see whether I might be a good fit. Yeah, so
might be a good fit. So I want to ask, for example, for all 3 of you, if you don't qualify, will you apply anyway?
Depends.
Yeah.
Yes.
If that position is something that I desire,
Okay, what would
I'll
that
go
depend?
for it.
Tell me more. Like, what would
If
override the fact that they mention a requirement and you don't fit, but you still apply anyway to try your luck?
Yeah, because if I feel like the position matches with my future career goal, and I really like that position, even though it says probably requires 2 to 3 years of experience, I don't have it. Well, I still gonna make it, like give it a try.
And any other answers?
Yeah, and also because I know there may some that I'm not qualified, but there may some that I'm qualified. So I'm gonna try out for that also, and also because just like William says, because I want that job, it's my desired one.
Yeah.
I would try out because sometimes maybe if HR sees some of the points, the goal points that I have, they think it's okay, and I may have the chance to do the interview, and that is the brave that I gave.
Maybe sometimes HR just copy and pasting all the different qualifications.
Yeah.
Just now you mentioned about what would override qualification is the job content itself, and I realized you wrote job description. Is that what you mean? Like you want to find something interesting that you want to do?
Yes,
Tell me more.
I kind of agree with her because qualification is definitely important too. But then I think the first thing that would attract me is if the job is attractive to me and I would want to do the job.
Even though maybe, for example, the requirement, it might not fit you.
Yeah, ideally it will. If it fits, then it's perfect. But then if it doesn't fit, then I will try my best to fit them.
That's good, that's good. And you wrote company name and size. So you have specific target company that you want to look for, if I understand that correctly.
Yeah, right. Because I think for our new grads, even though we learn a lot from university, we still like the real experiences. So we cannot say if we match the job description showing on the website. So the first thing I will focus on is the size. Like if the company is big enough, then I will say I will have more chance to get a job. But if the company is small, then they may require a person who has more experiences.
So besides you, so you gave the answer already. So I want you to wrap it out. I'm going to ask everyone Actually, just tell me, it's okay. So you mentioned size,
Yeah.
and you think big company, you want to go to big company.
Yeah.
Can we just write on the board very, very quickly, big or small company? Which one would you prefer on your graduate job, your first job? Do you want a big company or a small company? Small company like a startup, right? You know, big company, you know, they're maybe rich in terms of multiple offices, maybe the size of employee. Big could be the size of revenue and product. Okay, let's show the camera. Cool. Everyone want big company besides you, which is okay, which is good. Tell me a little bit more. Why would you prefer a small company?
Well, I think if it's very small size with no reputation, I'll probably just pass it. But if it's a startup and has a huge growth opportunity potential, yeah, I think it's a good shot because you know I have more opportunities to not to show off, but to like present myself.
More room and more responsibility as well sometimes because sometimes a big company, yes, they're very established, but it might not be because of you.
You're not that important.
Yeah.
Sometimes. But I know a lot of very, very big company, they will focus on the employee as well.
Yeah.
So let me ask you another question, somewhat related. Would you prefer a young company or established company? Okay, let's show the camera. 3, 2, 1. Established. Oh, so it's 3 versus 3 this time around. So sometimes they're big company, but they're also very, very young as well. So you're nodding. Can you tell me a little bit more? Like, what are you thinking about in terms of like big company but young? Like, what does that mean?
So recently there are always like new industry appear.
For example, any industry that attracts you?
For example, tech company, they grow up like in past 10 or 20 years. So compared to other established company, they're really young. But I think they have a potential to grow up. So I would like to choose this kind of company as my graduate, like my first company.
So they have, because they're big and then they're young, this means they've proven themselves as opposed to small and young. but the differences, they're all very, very interesting choices that there is well. And anything else that you guys want to add for established or anyone else?
Oh, I will add on some point on that. For me, I feel like established company is quite important for us because as a new graduate, we have no idea which direction should we follow. Before we enter a company, we have a lot of like imagination about the company. But established company can definitely provide you like super mature standard for you to follow, which means that all you need to do is to follow the standard. Even though you make a mistake, you're on a correct track. Yeah.
So it's more structured in that sense. And going back to some of the point that you mentioned about networking sites as well, those are the point that you're more likely to find alum that are from established and big company too. So let's go to the next question. I spoke about job posting. So imagine now you're on a company website. A company website. Which tab or which page would you look first and why? So a company website, they usually a lot of different pages, sub-pages. Like, I know Gaston just now wrote about the company, right?
Yeah.
Like, be more specific as well. Like, what aspect of about that you want to look at? Okay, let's show the camera. 3, 2, 1. Okay, news about us, career. What do you mean by us?
Like the what should I say? Like the employee structure. Yeah.
Okay. So when you mean us, you mean the employee as well. Okay, so you want to know more about the employee as opposed to the company itself. So this is a little bit about career. Is that what you're looking for as well, the employee experience? Or is there any specific other aspect?
I think,
Okay, you first.
well, on the career sector, there are not only just openings, but also employee testimonials that I'm interested in because I want to know what are other people's experiences and what I can learn from.
But don't you think sometimes on website those employer testimonial is quite perfect?
That's why you have to choose the trustworthy ones.
Very, very important. News.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
So the news is always the most proud thing in the company, like what kind of new steps they have. and what's their future plan. You can see all of them in the news section. And when you do the interview, they always ask you why you choose our company. So that's the place where you can find the unique thing about the company.
So you're preparing for interview at the same time, but also, sometimes company would have news that are a year old, right?
Yeah.
Or like sometimes they have like a couple of years that they haven't updated it. But sometimes you have, obviously, company may have a couple of news items per day as well.
Yeah.
Then you can get to understand a little bit about what the dynamic is like as well. Very, very interesting. So just now when we were talking about job posting, we also mentioned some aspect about description, etc. So I want to ask the next question. So which one is more important to you, the job sector or industry, or the job function? So function, like, you work in finance, you work in marketing, you work in admin and HR, right? The function and the industry, right? Some of us mentioned technology is an industry, right? Like, which one is more important to you during a job seeking process? 3, 2, 1. Okay, industry, to function. Any particular reason why you choose the way you did? Can anyone share?
I choose the job function is the most important one because I think I would love to try like the job from different industries such as tech companies or luxury companies. But I think the job function is the most important because that's the reason like I'm interested in the job position. Yeah.
And this is also more related to what you study and your experience and your degree as well, right? The more you're able to showcase. You're nodding to this, but you chose industry. Is there?
It definitely makes sense. I'm nodding. But personally speaking, I feel like if it's like my first job, there must be like an industry that I'm really interested in. Like for example, I'm interested in nonprofit, and I think no matter what kind of function I do, the moment I enter the industry, I know a more comprehensive and nuanced perspective of this industry. So even like in the future, I want to do some actual like functional works, I can still be able to be more like professional and like.
So in this way, in function wise, you're gaining more depth in terms of what you do, but then in industry, you're gaining more depth in overall of this particular sector, right? That you can further develop whether it's connection or experience there as well. So my final question in this particular section is, for your graduate job, right? Would you prefer to stay overseas or return home? 3, 2, 1. Okay, so overseas, home, both, and overseas. Okay, so maybe let me go to you first, because you're the only one who are very firm, besides you two who cheated, to say overseas. Why? Is there any particular reason?
For myself, I may want myself to be kind of like first experienced in overseas, and I may want to come back later on, because for now I've studied in the US, which is overseas. I also want myself to gain some experience outside because I have this opportunity to study abroad, and that's why maybe I want to try out abroad also. And then I still like, I still want to return home, but it may be like kind of like
in the long term,
yeah.
Right? And this come back to what you mentioned earlier about you went from undergrad to master's without any work experience, and for you, you can gain more from this as well. You guys choose both. Tell me why you cheated. Tell me.
Yeah, so I think just like he mentioned, we all want to collect our experiences as a new grad, and later on we definitely I personally want to return home because it's closer to my families, and I'm more familiar with the dynamic, the job market over here.
Very, very interesting. For you?
Yeah, it's like the same too, because I want to kind of gain like a global perspective in the first few years, and then, but by the end of the day, I want to come back and then.
So for both of you, if I understand correctly, for most of us here, we want to return back one way or the other. But for both of you here, location might not be a primary consideration, while others might be, and that's why you have followed my instruction and chose one of the two. but let's expand this a little bit further, because all of us eventually want to come back home. right, to China. So I want to ask you this, the elephant in the room, right, which I gave you earlier in the interview question. But elephant in the room is, what is the competitive advantage of overseas returnees comparing to local graduates? For those who have started the job searching process, I'm sure you have been asking this question yourself, or you've been asked this question. Why employ you, who you don't study here, you might not know the local context, comparing to someone who graduated here and spent their whole entire life, or at least the higher education portion of it, here in China? And any particular reason? We can just talk for this part.
I think maybe the global outlook, definitely, because with the global outlook, it actually is becoming a more and more valuable asset to both the multinational companies and also the roles that you're applying for that may be requiring like cross-cultural communication.
So global outlook. I want to ask Gaston very, very quickly, because you have graduated, you're working. This might be what we think from overseas graduate or overseas student. Is that what company in China wants?
Exactly, honestly. First thing first, I should say, normally Chinese market really care about the people who definitely know their self. Not only about your self-cognition, but also yourself, like a personality. You should super clear about what kind of people you really are. So first thing first, I should say is the self is the super important point. Except for that, I think it's the discipline and time management skill. Even though you are in somewhere outside China, you have a lot of time to stay by yourself. So you have to know how to deal with a lot of mission and to combine them together, or to separate them together, or to follow a list. That is super important for yourself to follow, and super important for you to use in your future career.
I want to challenge you very, very quickly here, because those skills can also be learned by local graduate too. Why do you think that overseas graduate have this advantage over local graduates? You talk about like thinking skills, right? Independent working skills, team working skills, communication skills. Those are also skills and competencies that can be learned and gained by local graduates. Why do you think global overseas students have that advantage, and anyone else can pitch in as well? Yeah.
I'll continue my topic again. First thing first, I should say, the biggest is because of the education system are totally different. In US, you have to, there's a word every like a student right here may know, like it's called due date. Every time when we start to prepare for work, we are super clear about the date that the mission will be complete. So every time before that due date, will give us a super clear schedule or the timeline to follow. So that is the thing that I think the local Chinese student might not pay too much attention on. So that is the point I think is quite important.
So this is something that you gain as well from studying abroad.
Exactly.
And anyone else have any experience that you want to share? What have you gained from it? So therefore you think this is a competitive advantage of you coming back home comparing to local graduates?
I think the one is be responsible to yourself.
Okay.
Like when you are in another country, the one who care about you is only yourself. You cannot communicate with your parents immediately, and also probably
even though you can, they may not be able to help.
Yeah, they cannot help you. They don't understand English and they don't understand the culture. So everything you need to do by yourself, and that's
what is the most memorable thing that you have to do by yourself when you were in US? And then I'll ask you because you laugh.
Like you need to fix your chairs. You need to.
So very small things.
Yeah,
in your
very
dormitory,
small things. Yeah,
right?
but
maybe sometimes because China is quite convenient, you can just buy a new chair from Taobao.
yeah, no, yeah, it's convenient and cheap. But in another country, like it's really expensive.
So it's just small things that you might overlook sometimes when you're at home.
Yeah.
But because you're abroad, you take responsibility, just like fixing your chair. Ki, what do you think? You laugh quite a bit. I'm sure there's a picture, a story in your head.
I mean,
share with us.
It's a bit similar to what Sophia said. Like in my undergraduate, I kind of like moving in dorms, it's dorms, but it's like moving. So I did it all by myself. So It's
I still remember packing is a nightmare.
yes.
Thinking what to throw away.
Yes.
when you move.
Taking
It's like I never know I have these much things inside my dorm. It's a small area, but I have that much. It's well, every time at that time, I kind of like miss my family, miss my dad because
And sometimes you don't have help, right? You
yeah,
have to do all this
yeah,
by yourself
by
too.
myself
Yeah.
too. So it's kind of like missing parents, missing the family, and every time maybe like some small things like when you're sick or when you get a flu, and we kind of go through COVID. Also, so when we're sick, we kind of like we have nothing, and also like you have to buy medicine by yourself. Everything you do is by yourself. So yeah.
Those are like life skills that you get to gain when you're in a foreign place. Yes.
Just to add on to that, I would like to share one of my stories that also pinpointing the significance of building a strong network. You know, during my undergrad, I met this professor who's so fantastic, and I will name her, but like she actually helped me a lot, and as more than just mentors and professors, more like families. And she also gave me the opportunity to become like a president of a student organization, and we were both in it. And I think that's, you know, that's make our academic journey more meaningful, because we have collected those human resources, those people that can help us through our academic journey and also career development.
So professional network. So you know, you might not have the solution to the problem, but because of extended network, you might know someone who have the answer,
Yes.
and they might happen to be overseas as well.
Definitely.
And anything else that you want to add? Anything that you gain from study abroad that you think is a competitive advantage that you can take back home?
I think it's inclusivity and also adaptability. So how we were, because especially in the US, there's a lot of people that we can meet, and there's different cultures and identities. So I think the skills of us being able to like talk to them and know about their cultures, and not only that, I can bring it back to China, or it's also how we can promote more socially friendly environment for the country.
And also at the same time, through this exchange, they get to know a little bit about China as well. So this inclusive is a bigger global aspect of inclusivity. So my other question that I want to ask you is, you know, you guys all have kickstart your study abroad journey. Some have done so from high school, from undergrad, but some only have done so in master degree. But what do you wish you have known at the beginning of that journey? Like, what suggestions you have for, you know, Chinese students who might about to go abroad, right, in September? What advice you might have? And anyone?
Always ask questions to other people
Okay.
you met.
Open communication, open
Yeah.
dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you don't know something, like, you always encourage them to ask questions.
Yeah.
And this is sometimes somewhat different in culture-wise, right?
Right.
Comparing to the Chinese education system culture as
Right.
well, right? There's no superior or inferior, but it's just different culture in terms of education system. Anything else? Any suggestions?
Upon that, also talk to more people. Talk to people that's outside.
How do you get, so I spoke about culture, because sometimes I think that's one of the biggest difficulty, how to break out of you know,
Yeah.
your own comfort
Yeah.
zone. And any advice on how to do this?
I mean, definitely online, social medias, and then like the platforms like LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I think it's all like a good way to connect with people that's outside your
Network.
network.
It's very interesting, because when I think about connecting, I'm thinking about meeting in person, but then from your perspective, it's about connecting, also connecting virtually. It's also a way to expand
it's an
your network.
easier way to connect with
it's the first
people.
step
Yeah, it's the
onto-
first step, and it's kind of easy.
Yeah, Gaston?
Yeah, I have a personal trick. Normally, like I used to be like a shy kid. Like I speak like super low voice, but right now I feel like speak loudly is the first step. Like when we're trying to engage with people,
Be
just speak
confident.
loudly. Whatever your English is, just speak it out. Yeah.
So just speak out,
Yeah.
and also with confidence as
Yeah,
well.
with-
Because when you
with
speak
confidence.
with, you know, you know, speak loudly, people would somewhat listen.
Yeah.
as
Pretend that you are the native speaker.
well. Yeah. Fake it until you make it. Okay, Jenny, do you have any advice?
I will say you can also like participate in like the school clubs, like football club, dance club, drawing club. There are many like
Student
resources.
society, student
Yeah.
organizations.
Yeah, and you can make friends with them. They're so friendly. Yeah.
So you can connect with people through interests, right, through sports, but also academically as well. I'm sure they're working groups, so people watching at home, they also work too and study. Besides just playing hard. So good. So thank you so much for all those advice. I hope the audience watching can gain something from it too. So we'll move on to another aspect. Is we spoke about the job seeking process. So we'll talk a little bit about working. And some of you, I know you have internship experience or you have worked in some way or form abroad or currently doing internship too. So during when I mentioned job posting and company website, some of you mentioned about us, but also the mission and the vision aspect. So one of the things we have read from the report that was released is talking about company culture. So what is a good company culture for you? Or for example, when you're looking on the website, any particular value that is very, very important to you about a future employer? What do you think that is? Anyone want to share?
Yeah, I think a good company culture, to me, fosters open communication and continuous learning. You know, I recently applied to one of the position at HSBC, and one of the aspects that attracts me is its skill building community. And I believe that's really important for us, especially in our 20th new grads. You know, we consistently acquire new skills to be someone, you know, qualified.
So the development plan of you being there as an employee
Yeah, the
and some of the
continuous
skills and the growth path as well.
Yeah.
Particularly skills that you can take away. And anything else that is important to you?
I want to add one more point to Lemons. So I think the company should encourage work-life balance. It is very important for us, especially for Gen Z population. Yeah.
We'll dive deeper into that. I'm going to give you some automatum to choose from. But yes, work-life balance is increasingly important. And anyone else agree or disagree?
Agree with the work-life balance.
Yeah. Because some would
agree,
argue,
yeah.
because a lot of you guys keep mentioning is early in your career you want to grow. This means sometimes you need time to grow as well. You need time to take more responsibility. How do you then balance that, particularly in early career? Because some would say, you know, when you're young, in your first job, you should just work. Like work-life balance will come eventually. But increasingly, particularly in the report that was released, they talk about work-life balance increasingly is one of the priority when they choose jobs. And anyone can share some light into this or share your thoughts and feelings?
I think like work-life balance means that I know that learning need time, but at the limit time we can like focus more, so we can kind of like use the limited time to learn more actually. So it's
increasing the efficiency.
Yes.
Of
So
it, but not just dragging
try to
it
get longer. Yes,
Okay.
that way, because I believe like if I want to work, I mean if I need to go to work, I need to have a health body, kind of like not just physical but also emotional life.
Yeah.
So that's why work-life balance is very important right now, because people want to focus on the work and they can have a health body, health emotion to do the work instead of like just do not want to do it.
Just to add on to Key's point, I think work-life balance means a combination of personal development and also career development. Because you know what's important is not only this moment but your life, right? You have more control, you have more time to arrange things for yourself, not only for your work.
You want to have a sustained career.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, career is not just a job, right?
Yeah.
It's a very long-term process. Anyone else? Anything else to add? Yeah.
I think it's just like the term, like people always talk about like work-life balance. But what is the real definition of it? It's kind of hard for people to discuss. I think all we need to care is to, for example, to think about the real definition behind it. Like, if you really want something, that you have to pay more attention on that. Which means that if you have like self-achievement on your work, you will want to spend more time on that. So sometimes your working time is also your life. So yeah, that's what I think.
So you want to break it down, and this is exactly what we were going to do. I'm going to give you a few situations you got to choose, and let's see whether it is work-life balance as a slogan or work-life balance as a commitment. So, so my first scenario is So it's time to get off work, but your supervisor is still at their desk. Will you wait or leave as scheduled? And let me give you a caveat. It's your first day of work. First day of work,
Okay.
right? 3, 2, 1. Leave, wait and ask. Okay, so let me go to wait first.
Okay.
Why?
And you emphasize
Do you
that.
feel pressure? Like if the whole entire team have left and you have wait?
Yeah. So you mentioned that it's the first day
Yeah.
of my work, so I don't want to get a bad impression to my boss, and I will continue to see if like he's leaving or she's leaving like every day late or not. So I will like.
What's the
take a
limit?
look.
How many days you will wait?
3 days.
3 days. Okay. Ask. What will you ask? You ask the boss, right? That's what you mean.
We don't want to waste the time right there, right?
Yeah.
So normally we have to ask, do we have anything to do? Like, is there anything that I can help? If they say no, then you can leave, then you just need to leave. If they say there's something that you need to do, which means that this mission is super important to you, you have to get it done by today. So I will ask.
So for those who leave, let me give you another scenario. Let's say if the whole team is staying. So the whole office, right? Let's say the team is 10 people. Right? The supervisor is there, the whole team is there. It's time to get off work. It's the first day.
What
Will you leave?
what I meant by leave, it's not like I just stand up and leave. It's like, of course, I will talk to my leaders and my team about the situation of today. And then it's my first day. I'm like also still getting used to the environment. So I'll ask them if this is like a normal thing that you guys are all staying, or if there's anything that I can help with. I think that's more of the situation.
Okay. And anyone else?
I think if I kind of like since first it's first day, I believe if they didn't like give me out work earlier, I believe there won't be like extreme important thing in the last of the minute to when you get off work, then there it comes. But also for this leave, I also means that like I may ask about it.
So for those who say, because I know it's a very, very polite, it's a perfect answer to ask. Let's say the boss say you can leave if you can leave when the boss told you right at the beginning you can leave when it's time to leave, but the whole entire team is still there. Will you leave?
Yes, I will still live.
I love the persistence. Okay, it's very, very interesting because Jenny, who said wait, is the only person who brought up work-life balance. So remember this, right? Okay, so another thing is, will you do team building activities over the weekend? So weekend is holiday, right? So your team, your supervisor say, let's have team building activities, but it is on a weekend. Will you, yes or no, for team building activities over weekend? Yes or no? 3, 2, 1. Yes, no. So is it because just now, the last time, I told you about work-life balance, and you said no? Tell me why no?
Because I may have another arrangement during the weekend, and if the team building is on the weekend, I think it will ruin my plan. During the
So it depends whether you have planned.
Yeah,
but it's a team building activities. If everyone say I have planned, then it won't be team building. It will be individual or the boss building. So we need a team decision, right?
Yeah.
If everyone go by whether they have planned or not, it won't be a good team.
But
And
if
it's your
they
first
taught
job.
me earlier, it can be like team
Okay,
building,
so
yeah.
negotiate, right?
Yeah,
And talk
negotiate.
about earlier and potentially arrange a date that
Yeah.
everyone asks for.
Yeah.
You
Great
just put a
approach.
question mark on yes. How many everyone know?
Yeah,
There were no, for the camera, there were no question mark before.
I added because yes, it depends on like when the company decide to have this. For
On the
example,
weekend, they just told you.
but if they just told me like on Friday,
How
we're
in
gonna
advance? How much notice?
like negotiation we just talk about. So we have to have that communication. So I believe communication make up things better, and also like make up connection too.
And anyone else have any inputs that you guys have? Particular strong reason? If not, let me move to the next one. So the next one is, it is again outside working hour. Will you respond to work messages? Yes or no? It's outside working hour. Will you respond to work messages? Okay, 3, 2, 1. I don't like the word depends. No, yes, yes. So, and a no with an exclamation mark. Tell me more, Sophia.
So, if that's a really emergency, then call me.
For boss, everyone, every message is emergency. There's no limit or quota on emergency messages.
But for me, I think I don't have the responsibility to reply the message.
You want to draw the boundary, right? There's no
Yeah.
responsibility outside work. Is that
Yeah.
the reason why? Like,
Yeah, I agree because if it's like an agreed upon expectation for your work, then I would say yes. But normally, no, definitely not.
if this is like a really, really super good opportunity that you can showcase yourself. Again, it's a first job as well. Is that the reason why? Oh, depends. Okay. is that the factor that would influence your decision whether to reply the message or not?
Yes.
But you do know the best way of, or the most common way of your supervisor to send you a message is, "Are you here?" You don't know the content. They will just say, "Are you here?" Oh, what message, right?
Then it depends on for what. Are
But then
here
when you
for what?
when you respond, this means the boss knows you have read the message.
I mean, I'm in a good team right
This
now.
is from someone who have worked for
Okay.
quite a few years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a good team right now. So normally they will give us a super straightforward instruction. Even though when I'm trying to sleep, like I got the message that it had to be done today. It's super important. So I have to think about that. It is really important for me or not. If it is super important for my future work, I have to get it done by today. Yeah.
So and this is also a way to negotiate for future communication as well, right? You can pretend not to have read the message until the next day and then say, "Oh."
Yeah, I mean, if you miss a message, then you miss it. Then when the next time when the boss check that, do you get the message? You say no. That might be a problem. Yeah.
And there's sometimes missed opportunity, particularly something that we need to battle with as well. But it's very, very interesting because the last question I asked, would you go on team building activities during weekend? But also I asked, will you respond to messages, outside working hours? So do you see team building as a part of work then? What do you guys think?
Not really. It's kind of like building relationship,
But with
networking.
workmates?
I think it could be. Yeah, it's kind of like a part of a job.
Because you have to work together
Yeah.
well, hence team building activities. So do you see this as a part of work, or how do you see this? And because of this, would this influence how you think about whether you should attend or not?
I think it's part of the work, but then work is not just work. So it's just that it's part of the job that we have to have like better connections with our team, but then that couldn't count as a personal life.
It's expected that everyone's expected to go to a team building activity.
But they could also have it on a weekday, which is a work day.
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like a casual meeting that you can gain a lot of like experience from. Like sometimes all of your members in the team are all super busy. You barely get the time to catch your boss or catch some colleague to get the chance to talk to them. So casual meeting, everyone like are super free. So you may probably get the time. Yeah.
Very, very interesting because it's a balance, right? But also it's a way to navigate throughout your career because as you mentioned, every company, they have different culture as well. And something that, of course, is not a cookie cutter for that perspective. So the next thing is, how long do you think your first job will last? So write it on your board. How long do you think your first job will last? 3, 2, 1. So we have 1 to 2 years, 2 to 3 years, 5 is very specific year, 5. And plus, so infinity. Yeah. And I know, of course, you're working right now at a company. So it's not fair for me to ask you. But But then 1 to 2 years, why you have this expectation you might change in 1 to 2 years time?
I mean, 1 to 2 years, I believe I can like improve myself inside the company, and also I believe I may have some new thoughts about my future. Maybe I wanted to kind of improve or trying to get to another position. That's a time for me to kind of change, because 1 to 2 years, it's not that long, but it's not that short also. Like some of the word like job description right now, they want you to have some experience with it, so this can be the opportunity for
Maybe
me.
a stepping stone for another opportunity. Right, because I know a lot of you guys are, studying or have studied, and sometimes you need some experience to get to something, a job description and a job that you might not be qualified for yet, right? 2 to 3 years, is that similar reason, or do you have another argument for that?
Actually, pretty similar years, but it's also like how am I doing my current job good enough that I am qualified to reach higher positions or try new stuff. So
it's also not necessarily changing job, but 2 to 3 years is a good time frame for you to reassess whether you're suitable for this job or something else. 5 years, how come?
Yeah, I think
there's no right and wrong, but I'm just interested.
Okay, I think 5 years is longer enough for me to see the big picture of the company and also their vision and also my personal growth opportunities. So if I'm nothing at this company, like after 5 years, I will probably change my job and companies as well. Yeah.
And also this comes back to what you mentioned, like it will work very well for a longer time frame in a more structured company, a bigger company where you have more time to actually maximize the different opportunity there is. Then with this time frame in mind, let's say within that time frame you hate your job. How much longer will you wait? Will you give it the benefit of the doubt before you resign? You don't like your job, you realize you don't like your job. The moment you realize, how much more time will you give to your employer before you say, I'm going to resign? Three, 2, 1. So 3 to 6 months, half a year, immediately 1 to 2 months. So let's go to the immediately first.
Well, actually, I think, time is gold for us, for new grads. And I feel like if we've already realized this is not a good fit for us, we have the option to leave, either leave or stay. But I'll go for a leave because, you have more time, you give yourself more opportunities to meet other people.
You take ownership of it.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't realize you hate your job on the second day. But, but some would argue, particularly mentors or your seniors might say it takes time for you to learn the structure and the culture and the working habit of the job. So leaving immediately, doesn't that throw out those opportunities for you to get used to?
Well, opportunities always go to those who prepared. So I believe if you are prepared, if you're good enough, you're gonna have other opportunities, maybe better than this, if you choose to leave, make decisions immediately.
And anyone else have anything to add? Why you put the answer that you did?
I think sometimes we have to be a little bit patient because sometimes we will get too emotional about the word that our boss said or about the thing that we deal with right now. So just take a little bit of time for you to see and take a deep breath when you get some a bad word from the colleague or from your boss. Yeah. Then after the next day, you start to realize that maybe it's just a word. Yeah.
So basically leaving room for misunderstanding.
Yeah.
And leaving room for assumptions as well that you might have. So talk about quitting. So which one would make you quit more? A meaningless job or an annoying boss? Job or boss? Okay, 3, 2, don't write the name of the boss. 3, 2, 1. Boss, job. 4 boss and no, 3 boss and 3 job. Okay. And any particular reason why? Can you tell me a little bit?
Well, I think you can choose your job, but you cannot choose your boss. So also, you don't know if your boss will get promoted several years later. So if you feel like the job is the thing that I don't like, then quit it. But if you
Going
feel
back to Gaston, sometimes you need patience. It might be meaningless now, but maybe in a month time or half a year time, it get more very interesting because you need to do the groundwork before you do something interesting in the future. What will you say?
so that's why I wrote 3 to 6 months before.
So you can stick with a meaningless job for 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very, very interesting. And any other answer? Annoying boss? Why?
Well, I think having a mentor is really important for especially young people. They lead you, they guide you not only as a boss, as a colleague, but also as someone who can give you life experiences, share their advice, their suggestions. I think that's really important.
And this is a relationship you want to have with the supervisor, right? A
Yes.
mentor-mentee
The
relationship that can
interpersonal
guide that
relationship.
person as well. What else? What else will make you quit? I just give you an ultimatum, right? Meaningless job or annoying boss. And anything else that will make you quit a job or considering quitting a job, and why?
I think opportunities,
Okay,
Yeah.
lack of opportunity, right? What type of opportunity?
like
When you mean so, what would make you quit a job, right?
yeah, like better
Oh,
opportunity.
better opportunity. So better opportunity in terms of opportunity in making more money, opportunity in taking more
It could be,
responsibility.
it could be, but it also could be like if there's more interesting jobs, or like
Yeah.
better paid, or better location.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So a broad different aspect. And any other reason why?
I may think maybe it's just me want to change, or it has nothing to do with the job or the company. It's just me find out myself that I want to change, that I want to experience something different. I may think that can be a reason to lead me to this.
Yeah, it could be a very interesting job, but it just won't change
Yeah.
anyway. And the reason why we spend some time on it, because on the same report it mentioned people do Gen Zs tends to take much shorter time in considering quitting a job. I'm sure everyone can have a story or two that they've seen in social media when Gen Zers have quit the job almost immediately when they don't like it. So someone mentioned about location, but also with the social distancing that we had before. So my question is, do you prefer remote work or office work? Choose one. 3, 2, 1. So both, but in person more. In person and remote, office, in person. So there's more in person. Can you talk a little bit more about in person, and then we go to both? I know most of us want both, but like, why is in person important for you? What are some of the elements?
First, because it's first job, I would like to engage with people. Because in person it's totally different with it online, and people may talk differently, or there may be some differences. And because it's first work, I think in person it's the real way to let me know what I'm working on and how my colleagues are.
Creating more space for communication,
Yeah.
right? More opportunity to run into people as well. So for both, I know a hybrid both, like what would be the perfect proportion for you guys?
1 to 2 days being able to remote.
Okay.
70%. I was 70% on site and 30% remote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think remote is important for you? Given in person is very, very important in running. Now, sometimes remote you can't run into people online, right? It's tougher. And then sometimes opportunity might primarily go to people who are in the office at times too. Like why do you think working remote is important for you?
I think it should analyze from two perspectives. The first one is your mental health, and second is your physical health. You need to know how to manage your a pressure level when you are at home. Maybe when you're at home, you just need to grab a coffee or sit to somewhere super relaxed. But when you're in an office, you have to pay all your attention to the work, or some people are watching your work. So which means that it's kind of hard for you to balance the way that you finish your job. And as for the physical health, I should say, sometimes we are not like a constantly moving machine. We are like the real human being, which means that we need some time for us to rest. As I mentioned before, sometimes we need to answer the message from not only from our boss but also from our student, because we need some like a break time to think about how to make our works more efficiently. Yeah.
This is very interesting because on the first part you mentioned, and what I'm hearing is that there's somewhat pressure and stress from social interaction, right? There's almost an invisible pressure from external validation and knowing that someone is watching you and someone may be judging you at the same time, but obviously when you're remote, you take this away. So we talk a little bit about communication. So my last scenario that I have is, let's assume you are in a work planning meeting, right? It's a planning meeting and it's quite big planning meeting as well. You are there in the meeting with your boss and your boss. So your supervisor and his or her supervisor. And let's say you disagree with the plan from the big boss, right? Boss. What would you do? We can just talk it out. So what would you do? You disagree with what is a planning meeting, so what is covered in the planning meeting, you need to execute, right? And it's your boss, your boss is also there, but you disagree. What would you do?
I think it depends on the situation and the overall dynamic in the room. So if it's like an open discussion time at the end of the meeting, then I might bring it up after.
So you won't bring up immediately, but you bring
yes,
up
I will
towards
note it down and also progress it in my head that is it that I am 100% correct, and then if I'm making sense, and then so I'm not just throwing out random ideas too.
Okay, and anyone would tell the person immediately? Yep.
I will probably just point it out right after we probably don't have a great an agreement, because I feel like especially the time that you spend with your boss can be very limited. So you want to bring it up immediately to grasp the opportunity.
And also at the same time, because it's a planning meeting, so what is discussed after might be related to what is currently being discussed as well. What do everyone else think? How will you communicate your disagreement with the plan? Or do you think you would just ignore it altogether? And anyone would just ignore it and not say anything? Because bearing in mind your boss presentation, but your boss is also there as well.
Yeah.
I will not ignore.
You will not ignore?
Yeah, because I think they make the plan, and we are the people that achieve that plan.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure what we do is what we want to do. So
how will you communicate your disagreement?
So I will tell them the pro and the con of each scenario and why I think my plan is better, or what's the problem the boss the plan has, and then I will give them to do the choice. Yeah, but if then they all disagree with me, then okay, I will do what they say.
But do you not think then sometimes, how will you communicate this? Is it communicated in person, immediately?
Immediately, but after the meeting. Like, if the meeting is 1 hour, and we have already solved other problems except this one, then I will.
But do you not think, so for those who think you should communicate, do you not think you're overreaching because your boss is there and you're a new employee from that perspective, right? You're your first job, graduate job. Do you not think then you're overreaching into a different hierarchy?
No,
So I don't think so.
You don't think so? You don't think so? And anyone think otherwise?
I don't think
because
I think
Go ahead. I mean,
sure.
like open dialogue is really important, and especially to bridge the gaps between you and your listeners. And it also open dialogues can also be like you talk to people like across different level and departments.
Because you're hired for a reason
Yes.
as well, right?
Yeah.
And you?
Yeah, I just want to add on that because you have to let your direct boss know what actually that you want to say. Whether they agree or not, it is his own like a thing, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why we're doing that is because we want to show the respect to the direct boss also. Yeah, let him know first, then you also need to be clear about what you're gonna say. Please do not give a super vague question or super vague topic to your client. And be specific and be concise.
This is very interesting because, of course, different generation might see respect very, very differently. Sometimes staying silent is a way to show respect. But then for you, very, very interesting, particularly for the Gen Z generation, it's about me concentrating and giving you feedback is a way that I respect you from the effort that you put in planning and being a part of the team as well, right? So let me give you a slightly different scenario. Let's assume you saw a mistake that was made in the presentation. Like everyone knows it's a mistake. It's not just you. Everyone, the whole entire room knows it's a mistake. What would you do in this situation? And it's a very obvious mistake. It's somewhat laughable.
Who made that mistake?
The presenter, your boss.
What
Ignore
kind
it.
of mistake?
Ignore it.
Me too. I'm
Very
gonna let it
simple,
go.
very obvious mistake.
Like typo?
It could be a typo. It could be like maybe using a competitor name instead of your own company name. Like it might be just a figure, maybe off by 1,000. Like something very, very obvious and somewhat critical. So
So I will ignore that typo, but in the discussion section, I will say the correct value or the correct.
but how will you communicate this? Again, it's all about communication, right? So
Suppose I didn't know that typo. Suppose I only know the correct answer, and then I will say like, I want let other people feel like I don't know that typo, and discuss.
so use it as a question as opposed to like this is wrong. Like ask it as a question, right?
No, not ask question. Like, if I join the discussion, I just say the correct value.
Okay. And anyone else have different approach?
Well, if it doesn't interrupt the whole presentation flow, I will just keep quiet. Well, if it does, and it's really significant, we're presenting to a very significant client, I will definitely point it out or to just correct the mistake. Yeah.
Very interesting. If it's a client, you will point it out. But
Very
do you think the client will think this is very unprofessional?
Well, if it's a client, we don't want to mislead them, right? So we want to correct our mistakes immediately to show that we realize this, and I'm so sorry, but we have determination.
This is super interesting. The way that different generations see respect and professionalism is very, very different. Because for you, like admitting that there's a mistake and not misleading them any further is a sign
mistakes
of showing
are not
unprofessionalism.
horrible, but yeah.
So of course there are multiple different scenarios we just did. We touched on some of the work-life balance challenges, but also a lot of when considering a career, it's not just about starting a career, but career development as well. So we also spoke a little bit about how to decide whether to move on or to stay, and how to best communicate inside the workplace. So a lot of times, I'm sure in your career center, and sometimes you go to webinars and info sessions, you're given a lot of advice by HR professional, by your seniors, by your alum. So this is an opportunity for you to give advice and recommendation to your future boss. What advice will you give to your future boss? What would that be? Anyone? To wrap up this conversation.
Active listening, I guess. Yeah, because everyone needs to be heard and respected. So I guess active listening and mutual understanding are very significant. Yeah.
So active listening and mutual understanding. That's good. And anyone else have any advices to your future boss?
Work-life balance.
Tell me a little bit more. Like how will you tell you cannot just tell your future boss like work-life balance, because for him or her maybe it's already very balanced.
Yeah, I may just say like kind of like advice. Maybe I think you can have more rest in it. And like everybody
encouraging your boss to hold this.
Yeah, because I know sometimes it's hard for people to change their mind somehow, especially for boss, because they're kind of doing decisions already for a very long time. So you kind of like need to give out more kind of like advice instead of just telling them that you're wrong. You may need to use a better like other way, like more not directly, but like giving some advice like that.
Indirect advice.
Yeah, indirect advice.
Direct advice. I was just thinking on top of my mind, like, if you ask the boss to have more rest, this means you have less, because the more work will be done by you. So it's less likely you have work-life balance. But yes, I understand what you mean, because of course there's also a way that your supervisor can set an example, right, for the team as well.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult, for the boss to encourage a work-life balance environment if him or her cannot practice it him or herself. And any other advice that there is?
I have one, like, give me some trust. I think.
In what way? Be more specific.
Let me finish the work by myself, if that's an individual work. Probably I didn't do the way that you want, but I can also finish it in another way. Probably a better way where, so just give me some trust.
Be more trust and be more patient as well throughout this whole entire process. And that trust might have a surprising outcome that come out of it. Because again, coming back to the idea that they spend so much time hiring you, so there must be a value of why you are there as well. Allowing you to more trust, taking more ownership and responsibility. And anyone else?
And be super straightforward to your mission.
So super straightforward and direct with the mission. What do you mean by this?
Like, do not give a vague picture about what you're gonna do. Just point out that what you have to do and what is the clear instruction you need to follow.
There's no need to draw big picture, right? Be more specific in specific task
Exactly.
that is expected. And anything else? Like you can repeat as well.
Clear instructions, right?
Clear instruction.
Yeah, I
right?
agree with that.
And be chill.
Be chill. In what way? What would be the ideal boss? When you mention chill, I just, so many different images. Like what would that look like?
Maybe just be nicer and be patient to talk to your colleague, and also give us more time as a new graduate to come into the company. Like give us more time and more patience.
Okay, so that chill means allow more room for mistakes.
Yeah, allow more room for mistakes.
And be more understanding. The mutual understanding that there is as well. And any other last words? It's your last chance to give advice to your future boss. They might be watching. and any other advice? I would have thought like give me more salary. That would be one of them. But, but no. And any other advice that you might want?
Give me opportunities to try new things.
What opportunities might you want?
Like there are a new project, and they are choosing a team to finish that project, and I want them to give me a chance of that position. And
this is also coming back to what you mean by listening as well. I still remember the job that I had previously at Tsinghua University. Like one of my supervisor, like she would come to me at the very, very first day and ask me, what do you want to do? And that was going beyond by active listening, because she actually want to understand what I want to do and hopefully help to align. Maybe what I want to do is a new project, right? Maybe a project that allow me to do certain things, etc. So this is quite interesting that you brought this up and with the listening aspect, because a lot of times as Gen Zers we are we don't lack ideas and we just come straight from university a lot of times. We might not know the context and the workplace and the industry, and this could be our advantage. That we can be more innovative and we can be more creative.
And also it reminds me of that many Chinese local businesses, they have like this trainee position that you get promoted and you try different roles.
Rotation as well.
Yes, rotations like within a very short period of time. And I think that's really fantastic, because you can try out different opportunities and better understand yourself.
And usually a bigger company, more structured, the management trainee program that many multinational also have as well.
I just thought of one point, it's to be strict too. Like with all the other things that we might expect from our mentors and bosses, it's also how when we're doing things wrong, you're able to point it out to me that I'm doing it wrong, instead of letting it be and then stop trusting me. So I think it's also how I could learn from my mistakes.
So direct communication is not just with task assignment, but also direct communication feedback as well. And being strict and serious, meaning that, don't take me as just a fresh grad, but take me seriously as an employee. So therefore, we are growing together as individual, but also as a company as well.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for all the input that we have. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I hope you watching are also enjoying the conversation as well. Whether you are international students who are planning and figuring out whether you should return home or not, hope this conversation helped. Or maybe you are an employer looking to employ Gen Zers. Hopefully you gain some insights from our conversation and advices. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time in the next episode of The Hype. Thank you so much. Goodbye.